Okay, today I wanted to just talk about checkmate. So checkmate is the ultimate goal in the game. You're trying to win the game by trapping the king, and this is called checkmate. In this position, actually, black blunders and captures what seems like a free pawn. That was, it was undefended. It seemed like it was hanging. The trouble is, it blunders checkmate for a queen and helper mate. So you have the queen, and maybe you see the move. The queen can attack. Both players, the rook and the queen, are attacking here on g7. So you can just move the queen down, and this is what we call a queen and helper mate. So the rook is supporting the queen. The king cannot capture a defended piece. The rook is defending the queen. This is a kiss of death checkmate, as world champion, well, he's not the world champion anymore, as Magnus Carlsen, the strongest player in the world, would call it, or a queen and helper checkmate. Okay, so this is checkmate once again, and so you're trying to figure out how can you put the king in check. Number one thing we should always consider in every position is checking moves. So it is white to play. You might want to pause your video if you're one of my beginning students and see if you can find how to checkmate the black king in a single move. But I'll go ahead and reveal the answer now. This is a back rank checkmate. You can just play rook down to e8, and yeah, the rook takes away all the squares, the pawns blocking the king in. Again, this is called a back rank checkmate. Okay, so it is black to play, and you can checkmate in a single move once again. This is another queen and helper mate. You must know that black cannot checkmate. Well, I guess there is this checking move here with the pawn, but go ahead and pause your video if you want to try to find this checkmate in a single move. It's black to play and checkmate white. But yeah, you can do another queen and helper mate. So the pawn and the king are defending the queen. So the king cannot step into danger. The king, you can never put your own king in check. So the king cannot capture here. His own queen blocking him in there. If she wasn't there, he could step that direction. That again is checkmate. And I would call that a kiss of death. Kiss of death, where the opposite queen checkmates the king with the queen directly in front of the king. All right, so white to play here, and you can checkmate the black king in a single move. So white to play and checkmate in one. If you want to look for this checkmate on your own, if you're one of my beginning students, go ahead or one of my intermediate students really. If you're one of my intermediate students, can you find the checkmate in a single move here? White to checkmate black. Pause your video if you want to think about it. But yeah, this rook over here is taking away these three escape squares. Pawns attack diagonally, so these squares are taken away, and then black's own pawns are blocking them in. So somehow you have to take away these two squares. You have to do some sort of attack that takes away these two squares, and rook to d5 does just that, taking away those squares. That is checkmate. Okay, it is black to play and checkmate in a single move. Black can checkmate the white king in a single move. Can you find it? Pause your video if you want to think about this checkmate in a single move. Black can checkmate in a single move. So black's king takes away these squares. So the white king cannot step to the second rank. The black king has him in opposition, and he cannot move. He could move this way, he could move this way, and he's safe where he's at. You got to take away those three squares. How do you do that? Well, pause your video if you want to think more, but I'm going to go ahead and reveal. The checkmate is just rook here. This is kind of like a box checkmate. But yeah, again, the king takes away these squares, and of course the rook then taking away those. Let's do one more of these. So it is white to play once again and checkmate black in a single move. Black can checkmate, or excuse me, white can checkmate the black king in a single move here. So white to play and checkmate. Pause your video if you want to think about it. But yeah, the bishop is taking away these squares. Black is blocked in by his own pieces here. So only thing we need to do is take away these two squares here. We need to take away a couple of light squares. Well, Even the mighty rook can't do that. It can't be a pawn. It must be a bishop move. So hopefully you spotted it by now if you wanted to solve it. But yeah, bishop to a6 this is what we call Boden's mate. So Boden, B-O-D-E-N, is this double bishop checkmate that you see here, usually blocked in by his own pieces, or maybe you have a rook sitting over here, and that is checkmate. So yeah, checkmate is the goal of the game, trying to attack your opponent's king. You should always be aware of checking moves above all else. So, this is kind of a good practice. You're always looking to see what checking moves you can play against your opponent's king, what checking moves can be played against your own king. Got to be careful about that as well. So we start with checks. We look to captures next as most important moves to consider. Checks are the most important, then captures, and then you also want to think about attacks as you're evaluating your chess positions. Anyway, thank you, Legendary Chess Club, for joining me. I hope you enjoy the video, and I plan on making more each week. So yeah, stay tuned, and I look forward to our next meetings. Okay, take care. Bye-bye.